And so I bartended, and that's where Danny, a gentleman, walked in, and we became friends. And he was a drinker and didn't really notice anything at first. And we went out on a date, and we started liking each other, and we started having a relationship with each other. And then finally, I told him I was a nun. He was a retired cop. He didn't scare him, and then I come to find out he was an alcoholic, and that didn't scare me. But yet I didn't. I had a lot of blinders in my life, so to speak. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't aware,
common.
and yeah, it wasn't just meant to be. God didn't give me those open eyes or
Yeah.
whatever, in certain situations. So when I found out he was an alcoholic, I was like, okay, can you stop drinking? Can you stop drinking? I mean, that's what I thought. Can stop drinking, and
Right.
and so and for my drinking, I stopped because I wanted him to stop. Because he was a great guy, and he was going back and forth, and then he found sobriety, and I was like, okay, at least I'm like thinking this is it. I finally get my white picket fence because with marriage and everything, and he found his sobriety out in the West, in Arizona. And I was like, okay, Danny, you go out there and I'll come out there and we'll get a white picket fence in Timbuktu, whatever supports your sobriety.
How old are you at
And it's
this
like,
point?
I'm about 48 at
Okay.
this time.
Okay. You've lived a
48.
life. You've lived a life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm about 48. And so Danny, back in 2012, he came back to the East Coast to get his truck because he found sobriety. He found a job. We're like, yeah, I'm like, thank you, God. This is awesome. This is what I've been wanting for. Like something good can happen to Gina. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and his mom went for a ride and everything, and it was just exciting. And but then yet they left Friday morning, and the next morning I get that dreaded phone call saying they were in a car accident. The
Oh.
truck burned up, the mother died, and Danny's all burnt up.
Oh my
So,
goodness, I'm so
and
sorry.
this
Oh.
and this happened in Indiana, in the corn country. And so I was like, oh my God, okay, what do I do? What is normally Gina does? She puts on her shoes and just keeps moving forward, without even realizing it. Like, of course, I'm like, why me? Why can't I be like my siblings? Why can't I have a marriage? Why can't I, you know, not have problems in my life? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? No pain.
Mm-hmm.
And because, Danny loved me for me, where the sisters love me the way they love pizza, so it's such a difference.
Yeah.
And so I uprooted. I went to Indiana. He was saved in a way, but he was burnt on his body, half of his body. He saw his mother burn up because he wasn't lucky enough to get passed out in this terrible car accident. To avoid a deer. So, I mean, and that's another thing. God, why couldn't you knock him out? And, why couldn't you just knock him out so he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't see his mother burn up and smell all that? And but like I said, he was saved, and so of course, we reached out to the rooms of AA out there. We didn't know anyone, so to need help. Here we are. He's all burnt up. He's in the hospital. I'm here, and people had stepped up and welcomed us, helped us. And then we needed a place to stay out there, and we didn't have any money, nothing. And so a couple from the rooms, Jim and Brenda, they opened up their home. They gave us their car because we didn't have nothing. And so we're like, yeah, this is it, Danny. This is it. We got engaged. It's like, okay, we'll start over again. This is it. We'll start in Indiana. We have the support of AA. I was going to Al-Anon, so we had the support of Al-Anon, and then plus of his wound care, because
Oh
he
yeah.
needed totally wound
Oh
care.
yeah.
And so everything was great. We got an apartment. I did get a job waitressing, and he was looking for a job. But little behold, like now, alcoholism comes back into our lives, like the active, because what does an alcoholic do when they're in pain and suffering? They don't want to feel, especially seeing your mom burn up.
Yeah.
Could you
That's
imagine that?
no. No.
I mean, a non-alcoholic would drink. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he picked up and he drank, and I was like floored. Like I couldn't understand. I was like, what happened to my perfect picture of my future? What happened to, like I couldn't
Yeah.
understand. I kind of flipped out on myself, on him and everything. I became manipulating, bargaining and everything. I kicked him out. I said, Danny, you need to get, before we get married in April, like this, like threatening, bribing, whatever. And then a month before our wedding day, I was called to go to buy his house, and make another long story short, he died. We found him dead in his apartment. He ended up, only God knows what happened, but he fell, and I like to say he fell into the arms of God, and he hit his head. That's, he died in that way. Back then I was so ashamed. So because of the fact he was an alcoholic, he died of this, and so ashamed. Like I'm thinking, oh no, he was sober when he died. But like I said, I don't know. And for a while I kept saying, well, he was detoxing and he fell. But no, I mean, it was a horrific. And at that moment, Lisa, I gave up on life. I gave up on pursuing anything. I gave up perseverance. I just totally gave up. I was like, why am I living? What's going on? I mean, I came to a point at that time that, this is my life. Bring on the misery. Gina loves to suffer. Give it to her. Everything. I'll just take it. I'll run. I'll take it. I'll just take it. You could be peace. You could have the happiness, and I'll just take it. And that's how I felt.